Hi students, welcome to this video session. My name is Samuel Chukwuemeka, as usual. In this video session we shall solve radical equations and also check our solutions. Please, before you view this video, it is highly recommended that you view the videos in the playlist. It's a playlist on radicals. The videos there are roots of integers, simplifying radicals, adding and subtracting radicals, and the rest of them. So it is recommended that you view those so that before viewing this one. Radical equations is just the simple definition is that it is an equation that has radical. Okay, equations containing radicals. Equations containing radicals. So what are radicals? We have discussed those in previous videos. So let's go ahead and solve it. As usual, when we learn equations, because it's an equation, we need to know how to check the solution. You may also need to view the videos on linear equations, because with radical equations, we have equations containing radicals. So what we do first is that we have to remove those radicals. And once we remove those radicals, we end up having a linear equation or a quadratic equation or a cubic equation or a quartic equation and the rest of them. So you will need to know how to solve those equations as well. So I would also recommend that you view the videos on linear equations and the quadratic equations before you continue with this video. So we have some problems here I wrote here, and the first one is of course everything here will be solve and check. Solve and check. We will solve the equation and then we will check our solution. Solve the equation, solve the equations, then check your solutions. Check your solutions to see whether the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. We talked about all those in our videos on equations. So number one is the square root of 3x equal to 9. So we mentioned that in the previous videos. The square root is the radical sign. Now this is the radical. How do we remove it? And we say that we square it. If it is square root, you square it. If it is cube root, you cube it. If it is fourth root, you raise it to the fourth power. Okay? If it is fifth root, you raise it to the exponent 5. So we need to square it so that we can remove the radical. And because it is an equation, whatever you do to the left-hand side, you have to do to the right-hand side as well. So this comes from the fact that the square of a square root of a number is the number. Okay? The square of a square root of a number is the number. And we've said it before. The square of the square of the square root, the square of the square root of a number or variable is the number. You can say term. The square of the square root of a term or a variable, anything, is that term. Okay? Whether it's a number or variable, is the variable, or term is the term. Okay? The same thing with cube, cubes and cube roots. The cube of the cube root of a number is the number. So that is the main reason why we want to remove this radical. So what we do now is square root of 3x all squared equal to 9 squared. Right? And then this becomes what? 3x. It just becomes 3x. Okay? And we talked about this in the previous videos. How does it become 3x? How? When you have a square root of 3x, right? This means 3x all raised to the fractional exponent. The fractional exponent gives you these radicals. Okay, this means 3x all raised to exponent 1/2. And then you now do square root of 3x all squared will now be, this will now be 3x raised to exponent 1/2 all squared. All squared. So this will now be 3x raised to exponent 1/2 times 2. Law of exponents. Your law of exponents. And then 1/2 times 2 is 1. So this is 3x exponent 1, and that is just 3x. So that is the, it works for cube root, fourth root, fifth root, sixth root, all of them. Nth root of the term. Nth root. So that is the thing here. 3x will now be, 9 squared is what? 81. And you divide both sides by 3, x will be what? 3 into 8 is 2, 6, 21, 7. X will be 27. Now, do you stop here? No, you don't stop here. You do what? You check. So how do we check? We write check. And then we write the main problem, square root of 3x equal to 9. We write our left-hand side, right-hand side, and this will be square root of 3x is the left-hand side, 9 is the right-hand side. So this is square root of 3 times 27, which is square root of 81, which is 9. Number 2, we have 5 square root of p is equal to 3. Here you can do it two ways. You can first of all divide both sides by 5 so that the radical stays on its own. Usually you want a radical to stay on its own. You know, you can do that, or you can go ahead and square both of them. I would prefer the first approach. Radicals stay on your own. So you divide both sides by 5. And then you now have that square root of p is equal to 3 fifths. 3 fifths. 3 fifths. 3 fifths. 3 fifths. And then you can now square both sides. You can now square both sides. Okay. And then you now have that p will be equal to 9 over 25. Yeah. But, I mean, you must not do it this way. You can go ahead from here. Assuming I write or, you can go ahead from here. You do 5 root p equal to 3. You square both sides. Now, but once you do this like this, then this means 5 squared times root p all squared equal to 9. And this is 25 times p equal to 9. And then our p will be 9 out of 25. So whichever way you choose, that's fine. Okay, now let's do what? Check our work. Check. In checking, we write the main problem first. Then we write our left-hand side, our right-hand side. Left-hand side is a 5 square root of p. Right-hand side is 3. And then we now substitute for our p. This is 5 times square root of p. This is 5 times square root of 9 over 25. Right? This is 5 times square root of 9 is what? 3. Square root of 25 is 5. 5 divide 5 and you have 3. 3 on your left, 3 on your right. You can do some kickboxing. No, don't do kickboxing. Okay, so this is the second question. All right. Question 3. 5 is equal to square root of 8x plus 1. Like I mentioned in equations, on the videos on equations, it is always good to, the variable that you're looking for. In this case, we want to find x. X is the variable. The variable that you are looking for, you want to put it on the left-hand side. Okay? You always want to do that. We talked about it in the videos on equations. So this will be square root of 8x plus 1 equal to 5. So you just swap or rearrange whichever vocabulary that suits you. And then we can square both sides. We can now square both sides. Square both sides. This is what I mean here. Square both sides. Both sides. Okay? And we now have that 8x plus 1. Once you put the square of a square root, it is that number. Period. It is. That square takes out the square root. See it that way. That the square takes out the square root. Equal to 25. So 8x will be 25 minus 1. 8x will be 24. And x will be what? 3. 24 divided by 8. 3. And then we do what next? We check our work. Check it, check it, check it, check it. Check it, bro. Check it. So, we check. We have that 5 is equal to square root of 8x plus 1. As usual, you check with the main equation. Left-hand side, right-hand side. Left-hand side is 5. Right-hand side is square root of 8x plus 1. Our constant is here, so this is square root of 8 times 3 plus 1. Square root of 24 plus 1. Square root of 25, 5. 5 on your right, 5 on your left. You can eat some vegetables. And you do let's move campaign. Let's move campaign. Let's move campaign by Michelle Obama. Flotus. Okay, number 4. 1 equal to 5 minus 1 equal to 5 minus square root of 9x minus 2. Okay, here you see the variable is on the right hand side. We don't want that. So let's swap. Let your left be your right and your right be your left. So this is 5 minus square root of 9x minus 2 equal to 1. Now, when I taught linear equations, I will show you another way to do this kind of thing. And you can now say that negative square root of 9x minus 2 equal to 1 minus 5. Negative square root of 9x minus 2 equal to negative 4. And you can divide both sides by negative 1. You can now divide both sides by negative 1. By negative 1. You want just the radical to be alone, nothing with it. Radical stay on your own, nothing with it. So negative divided by negative, that goes. So square root of 9x minus 2 is equal to 4. And then you can square both sides. But guess what? When I taught you equations, linear equations, there is something you can do here. From here, you can move this guy over here, and it will change the sign, and you move one over here. As simple as that. That is the way I would prefer to solve it. Okay, move this guy over here. This is square root of 9x minus 2 equal to 5 minus 1. So square root of 9x minus 2 equal to 4. Before you now square it. Okay, so you see, you have cut short the number of steps you need here. Cut it short, because you know how equations work. I explained this in linear equations. If you need to understand the method I used, I explained that in my videos on linear equations. All right, so let's finish that up. We now have that square root of 9x minus 2 equal to 4. Square both sides. If we square both sides, we have that 9x minus 2 is equal to 16. So 9x will be equal to 18, because 16 plus 2 is 18. And x will be equal to 2. Right? So after this, what do you do next? You check your work. Check. So this is 1 equal to 5 minus square root of 9x minus 2. Left hand side, right hand side. Left hand side is 1. Right hand side is 5 minus square root of 9x minus 2. Our x is what? 2. So this is 5 minus square root of 9 times 2 minus 2. This will be 5 minus square root of 18 minus 2. 5 minus square root of 16. 5 minus 4. 1. 1. Yo! Question 5, we have negative 4 equal to negative 6 plus square root of 5k plus 1. Right? So we rearrange or we swap. Negative 6 plus square root of 5k plus 1 equal to negative 4. So this is square root of 5k plus 1 equal to negative 4 plus 6. Okay? So square root of 5k plus 1 equal to 2. Square both sides. Square root of 5k plus 1 all squared equal to 2 squared. So 5k plus 1 is equal to 4. 5k is equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. And k is equal to 3 over 5, 3/5. Next thing you do is to do what? To check your work. We check. We write the main problem. Negative 4 is equal to negative 6 plus square root of 5k plus 1. The left hand side, the right hand side. Left hand side is negative 4. Right hand side is negative 6 plus square root of 5k plus 1. So this will be negative 6 plus square root of 5 times 3 over 5 plus 1. So this will be negative 6 plus square root of 5 divided 5 is 1, so 3 plus 1. So this is negative 6 plus square root of 4, negative 6 plus 2, which is negative 4. Negative 4, negative 4. Yo, 1. Good. Question 6, we are going there. We have 12 questions in this video. I want to touch the varieties. We will still do some challenging problems in part 2. Part 2, we will do some more challenging problems. These ones are kind of tip of the iceberg. Warm up. Warming you up. Warm up. Warm up for the big phase, 2 is equal to 5 plus square root of 2x plus 1. All right? So this means that 5 plus square root of 2x plus 1 equal to 2. If you can stop this video, not stop, pause. If you can pause this video and try to do this on your own and try to check it as well, then you can play it back to see whether we get the same answer. Okay? Or you know why I like radical equations, or why I like equations generally, is because when you check your work, you know whether you got it right or wrong. If the left-hand side does not equal the right-hand side, you try to find out your mistake. Okay? So this is the square root of 2x plus 1 is equal to 2 minus 5. Square root of 2x plus 1 is equal to negative 3. You square both sides. Square root of 2x plus 1 all squared is equal to negative 3 all squared. So 2x plus 1 is equal to 9. 2x will be equal to 9 minus 1, which is 8. 2x is 8, and x is 4. You divide both sides by 2. It gives you 4. And what do you do now? You do what? You check. You check your work. So we write check. We write the main question. 2 is equal to 5 plus square root of 2x plus 1. Left hand side, right hand side. Left hand side is 2, right hand side 5 plus square root of 2x plus 1. So this is our concern, main point of concern. 5 plus square root of 2 times 4 plus 1. 5 plus square root of 8 plus 1, right? 5 plus square root of 9, 5 plus 3, which is 8. But guess what now, with this you could say that you can now say that square root of 9 is plus or minus 3. So you can now have it this way. So you can now have it this way, that 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. When you run into this, you look at it again to see whether you made any mistake. There's no mistake there. And some questions don't just go like that. They might need only principal square root. When you run into this, you can now say that square root of 9 is either plus 3 or minus 3. Anytime you have the square root, it could be the positive or negative value. Because 3 times 3 is 9, and then negative 3 times negative 3 is also 9. So you can run into that fact that here square root of 9 will now represent negative 3. Okay, 5 plus negative 3, which is now 5 minus 3, which is now 2. And it's still correct. It's still correct. Okay. Question 7. We are getting there. Square root of 2x plus 10 equal to square root of 5 plus 6x. Here is pretty straightforward. Square both sides right away. Okay? Square both sides as usual, like we've been doing. So square root of 2x plus 10 all squared is equal to square root of 5 plus 6x all squared. So we now have that 2x plus 10 is equal to 5 plus 6x. Right? We can move this like this. So 10 minus 5 is equal to 6x minus 2x. 5 is equal to 4x. 4x is equal to 5. x is equal to 5 over 4. And then you do what? You check. So we check. We have that square root of 2x plus 10 equal to square root of 5 plus 6x. So we have left hand side, right hand side. Okay? Here you have square root of 2x plus 10. Here you have square root of 5 plus 6x. Now this is now square root of 2 times 5 over 4 plus 10. Let's fix this first. So 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 4 is 2. This is square root of 5 over 2 plus 10. And this will be square root of 5 over 2 plus 20 over 2. They have to be the same denominator. So this is square root of 25 over 2. Right? Square root of 25 over 2. Now, when we did radicals, we see that square root of 25 over 2, square root of 25, when we did radicals, we saw that square root of 25 over 2 is equal to square root of 25 over square root of 2, which is 5 over square root of 2. And then you rationalize. You know, when we talked about radicals in class, it is not acceptable to leave your answer like this. You have to rationalize. You make the denominator a rational number. You rationalize the denominator. Okay, times now square root of 2 over square root of 2. So this is 5 root 2 over 2. Right? This is 5 root 2 over 2. 5 radical 2 over 2. Okay. Here, let's fix it. This is 5 plus 6 times 5 over 4. Let's see whether we will get the same thing. So this is square root of 5 plus 2 into 6 is 3. 2 into 4 is 2. 3 times 5 is 15 over 2. So this is square root of 10 over 2 plus 15 over 2. And that is square root of 25 over 2, which is 5 root 2 over 2. And then you can eat some corn. Eat some corn. All right? Number 8 I mean. And then you can eat some corn. Eat some corn. Number 8. Cube root. Let's go to cube root. Cube root of 4p minus 1 equal to 3. All right. So just like in square root, we square both sides. In cube root, we do what? Cube both sides. Cube both sides to remove the radical. So this means that cube root of 4p minus 1 all cube equal to 3 cube. So that means that 4p minus 1 is equal to 27. 4p is 28. And p is 7. 7. So what do you do next? You do what? You check your work. Check it. Check. So we have that cube root of 4p minus 1 is 3. Left hand side, right hand side. This is cube root of 4p minus 1, and this is 3. So this will be cube root of 4 times 7 minus 1, which is cube root of 28 minus 1, which is cube root of 27, which is 3. 3 here, 3 here. You eat some fish. We are getting there. 6 is equal to 4 square root of n plus 3. So, like I said, we rearrange or we swap. 4 square root of n plus 3 is 6. And we want a radical to, 4 is here. So we want a radical to just leave us, okay? Hey, this radical is telling 4, leave. So you divide both sides by what? 4. You divide both sides by 4. You now have that square root of n plus 3 is 6 over 4 is what? 3 over 2. And then you can square both sides. Square root of n plus 3 all squared is 3 over 2 all squared. You now have that n plus 3 is equal to 3 squared is what? 9 over 2 squared is what? 4. So from here, we have that n plus 3 is 9 over 4. So m will be 9 over 4 minus 3. So m will be 9 over 4 minus 12 over 4. So m will be negative 3 over 4. Do you stop here? No. You do what? You check your work. Check. We have that 6 is equal to 4 square root of n plus 3. Then we have our left hand side and our right hand side. Left hand side is 6. Right hand side is 4 square root of n plus 3. So this is our concern. 4 times square root of n is negative 3 over 4 plus 3. So this is 4 times square root of negative 3 over 4 plus, this 3 means 3 over 1. It's a fraction, make it a fraction and make it to have the same denominator as 4. So this will be what? 12 over 4. So this will be 4 times square root of negative 3 plus 12 over 4. This is 4 times square root of 9 over 4. Right? Which is 4 times, square root of 9 is 3 over square root of 4 is 2. 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 4 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 on your right, 6 on your left. Do some jumping, Do some training. Question 10. Negative 4 is equal to cube root of 3b minus 1. I'm doing varieties. All right, what do I do first? I swap it because I want my variable to be on the right. And then what do I do? I cube it. Cube both sides. Cube both sides. So I now have that 3d minus 1 is equal to negative 64. Because this is negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4 all cubed will be negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. Yeah. For exponents that are, and I talked about this in exponents. If the base is a negative integer and the exponent is even, then it will give you a positive result, positive answer. But if the base is a negative integer and the exponent is odd, cube root, fifth, 7. If the exponent is odd, then it will give you a negative result. I talked about it, in exponent video on exponent. You might need to do that as well. All right, so this is 3d is equal to negative 64 plus 1. 3d will be equal to negative 63. And d will be negative 21. Okay, let's check this. See what we got, whether we got it right. Negative 4 is equal to cube root 3d minus 1. Left hand side, right hand side. Left hand side is negative 4. Right hand side is cube root of 3d minus 1. So this will be cube root of 3 times negative 21 minus 1. Cube root of negative 63 minus 1. Cube root of negative 64, negative 4. Negative 4 on the right, negative 4 on the left. You do a good work, charity. You do charity work. Donate to charity. Help the poor. You rejoice and you go and help the poor. Okay, number 11. Cube root of 2 minus 5y equal to cube root of 3y minus 1. Alright, so of course you cube both sides as usual. This really makes it easy for us. Cube root of 2 minus 5y all cube equal to cube root of 3y minus 1 all cube. So we now have that 2 minus 5y equal to 3y minus 1. And this gives us, move this here, 2 plus 1 is 3y plus 5y. 3 is equal to 8y. 8y is equal to 3. So y will be 3 over 8. Y is 3 over 8. And the next thing you do is to do what? To check your work. Check your work. So we have cube root 2 minus 5y equal to cube root 3y minus 1. Left hand side, right hand side. Now this is cube root 2 minus 5y, cube root 3y minus 1. Let's start with this guy. This will be cube root 2 minus 5 times 3 over 8, which is cube root 2 minus 15 over 8, which is cube root 16 over 8 minus 15 over 8. Okay, let's finish this stuff. And we are still on this one, the left hand side. We are still on the left hand side, continued. So this is cube root 16 minus 15 over 8, which is cube root 1 over 8, which is 1 over 2. Because cube root of 1 is 1, cube root of 8 is 2. So our left hand side gave us 1 over 2, 1/2. Alright, let's do the right hand side. See whether we will get the same thing or not. This will be cube root 3 times 3 over 8 minus 1, which is cube root 3 times 3 is 9. 9 over 8 minus 1, which is cube root 9 over 8 minus 8 over 8. Right hand side, which is cube root 9 minus 8 over 8, which is cube root 1 over 8, which is 1 over 2. Yay! Yay! All right. Number 12, question 12, the last but not the least. The last but not the least. Square root of negative x minus 6 equal to x. Yeah, in the second part of the video, we will solve more of the challenging ones. The ones that will lead us into quadratic equations. Okay, and remember we will solve and check it. Now with radical equation, when you're checking your radical equation, you know, especially when you run into quadratic, sometimes one of the answers at least one of the answers must be correct. At least one of the answers must be correct. We will look at that when we do part 2. So you need to solve more challenging ones. Watch out for part 2. Watch out for part 2. All right. Number 12, when you have this now, what do? We want the radical to stay on your own. Radical, stay on your own. And this negative 6 is with it. Kick it. Kick out this negative 6. Kick it. So this will be square root of negative x equal to x plus 6. Radical, stay on your own. Then you can now do square both sides, okay? You can now say square both sides. And when you do that, square root of negative x all squared equal to x plus 6 all squared. This gives us what? Negative x right away equal to, of course, you need to view my video on polynomials, multiplying binomials, and then equations I talked about. You view the videos on linear equations, you view the videos on quadratic equations. So, solving radical equations, there are some prerequisites you need to know before you solve this. So this will be negative x equal to x squared plus 6x plus 36. All right, so this is now, we can say that x squared plus 12x plus 36 is negative x. So x squared plus 12x plus x plus 36 is 0. We land two quadratic equation, x squared plus 13x plus 36 is 0. So what are the factors? We've landed into quadratic equation. We now have that x squared plus 13x plus 36 is 0. So 36 times this is 36x squared. 2 and 18 will not work. 3 and 12 will not work. 4 and 9 will work. So this is x squared plus 4x plus 9x plus 36 is 0. X plus 4 plus 9, x plus 4 is 0. Please, if you don't understand what I just did, you view the videos on quadratic equation. Please. So this is x plus 4 times x plus 9 is 0. You now apply the zero product property. Zero product property. So this is x equal to negative 4 or x equal to negative 9. All right. We don't stop here. We will have to check it for both of them and see. At least one must satisfy it. At least one. At least one must satisfy it. At least one must satisfy it. So let's see. All right, so we write our check here. Square root of negative x is minus 6 equal to x. Left hand side, right hand side. Like I said, when you check, you have to check with the main equation, not the modified equation. The main equation, not the modified equation. Okay, we've discussed that before. This is square root of negative x minus 6, and then this is x. Now, we want to check for negative, let's check for negative 4. Okay, x to be negative 4. So this will be square root of negative 4 minus 6. So this is square root of 4 minus 6, which is 2 minus 6, which is negative 4. So negative 4 on the left, here x, negative 4 on the right. Good. Negative 4, pass the test. Negative 4, pass the test. It passed. Pass the test. Okay, now let's check for x to be negative 9. Let's check for it. So this will be square root of negative 9 minus minus 6, right? And that is the square root of 9 minus 6. And that is 3 minus 6. And that is negative 3. Did it pass it? No. Negative 3 is not equal to negative 4. So, no. Nope. So you see, we always have to check. And if you apply the, if you say that, if you apply the negative square root, I mean, not negative square root, if you apply negative 3, negative 6, it will give you negative 9. It's not even equal to negative 4. Yeah, but we are concerned with the positive square root, principal square root. Okay? All right, so you see that the answer is just x equal to negative 4. That's it. That's why it is good to do what? To check your work. All right, folks, watch out for part 2. And if you have questions, you ask. Thank you so much for listening, and you have a good evening.